Radical Candor. The Radical Candor framework has been really helpful to me in my work as an evaluator. So in today's video, I'm going to explain the Radical Candor framework and how I think it can help all of us improve our work as teacher evaluators. Welcome to my channel for leaders who want to lead with love and love to lead. My name is Madden-fuoco, and I've been evaluating teachers for more than 15 years and coaching and training other evaluators for more than 10 years. I love to think about how we can improve our work as evaluators so that we can support our teachers' growth so that they can support our students' growth. So I learned about the Radical Candor framework from my friend Mary Driscoll, who's one of the academic superintendents here in Boston. And when Mary told me about it, she said, "Jess, you will love this podcast." And Mary was right. At that point, Mary and I had both been training evaluators for many years together in Boston, but we were both really excited about the Radical Candor framework because it gave us some language to use for some of the strategies and approaches that we were trying to work on with other evaluators. So as you can see, the Radical Candor framework is broken into 4 quadrants. So first, I will talk about the 3 quadrants that we want to try to avoid in our work as evaluators. So let's begin on the left side. These 2 are when we don't challenge directly, when we don't talk with teachers about ways in which they need to grow, and we don't provide honest feedback to them. On the bottom left, Kim Scott calls this manipulative insincerity. Manipulative insincerity is what happens when you don't care personally and you don't challenge directly. It's praise that is non-specific and insincere, and it's neither clear nor kind. One way to tell if you're operating in this quadrant of manipulative insincerity is to ask yourself the question, am I talking about someone behind their back instead of directly talking with that person? To give you a couple of examples, if a leader is operating in this quadrant of manipulative insincerity, the person might send vague emails appreciating teachers' hard work, but then they might be actually talking behind teachers' backs and not directly with teachers about some way in which the teacher needs to grow or something they need to do differently. So as you can see in this graphic, there will be no change if we operate in this category and a lot of harm done. So obviously, we want to avoid manipulative insincerity. Now the top left. This is where we care personally, but we don't challenge directly. And I think this is really common in schools because we have a lot of nice folks who go into the field of education. And also, since many of our schools are underfunded, leaders are often really strapped for time and haven't figured out ways to make time for these feedback conversations. So in this quadrant, teachers are feeling cared for by the leader, but they're not getting the honest feedback that we all need in order to grow. So if we're operating in this quadrant, then we're not really supporting teachers' growth and supporting whole school improvement. Now let's move to the right side of this quadrant. This is where we're challenging directly. So we're sharing honest, critical feedback with teachers. But if we are on the bottom right of this quadrant, this is where we're delivering honest, critical feedback, but we're not showing that we care personally about the teacher. And in this case, it's very likely that the teacher will be defensive or won't receive our feedback well. And if teachers are defensive and aren't receiving the feedback, it's very unlikely that they'll then use it to improve their practice. Kim Scott describes this as obnoxious aggression because often when we deliver critical feedback without care, it can be perceived as obnoxious or as aggressive. Another issue I see in this quadrant in schools is when we don't actually believe that a teacher is capable of growing, or we don't communicate to the teacher that we believe they're capable of growing. Teachers pick up on this. They know when we don't believe in them, and it doesn't help them grow. So as you can see, there is likely to be little change or growth when we're operating in this quadrant. This top right quadrant is where we want to be. This is when we're really practicing and embodying radical candor. We want to be high on both caring personally and on challenging directly. To really care personally, we can't just care inside our hearts. We have to actively work to build a relationship with each of our teachers. At the beginning of all my conversations with my teachers, I ask them how they're doing and what's new since we last spoke. I also ask them follow-up questions to something that we talked about when we last met. And I do this because I really want to know, not because it's forced. But I have found that I have to be really intentional about making time for this, because the teacher and I are often both stressed and we're both facing long to-do lists. But I really believe that this time to check in with one another about how we're doing and how our families are doing is really worth the investment and really helps to build our relationship. I think that relationships are at the heart of coaching and at the heart of teaching. Another subject I often teach about is restorative justice practices. And in restorative practices, we talk about listening with an open heart and speaking from our hearts. And I really think this is at the heart of being an amazing evaluator too, is really speaking from our heart and listening with an open heart. And then the other part of this quadrant is challenging directly. Sometimes I think we avoid challenging directly because we're worried about how the teacher will receive our critical feedback. And to be honest, teachers might not receive our feedback well in the moment, especially if it's something that no one has ever talked with them about before. But I find that most often, teachers are so grateful for honest critical feedback, especially when it's coupled with clear support for working on that feedback. I love a metaphor that Kim Scott shared on one of her recent Radical Candor podcasts. Kim said that sharing critical feedback is like telling someone they have spinach in their teeth. I love this metaphor so much because I've been saying for years when I tell someone if they have something in their teeth or they have something on their face, I always say to them, I'm that kind of friend. Because it's actually really kind and helpful when someone tells us if we have something in our teeth or have something on our face. So I'm hoping you will think of critical feedback this way, that teachers really want helpful critical feedback and that our students need us to be providing teachers with helpful critical feedback. So next time when you're thinking about whether or not you should challenge a teacher directly and deliver some critical feedback, I want you to remember that telling someone they have spinach in their teeth is really the kind thing to do. And we all want to be a leader and an evaluator who is embodying radical candor so that we can truly support the growth and development of our staff. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in the topic of teacher evaluation, I have lots of other videos on my channel that you can check out. If this video was helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and click that notification bell so you get notified when I post more videos. And please share this video with any of your teacher and leader friends, because my mission with this channel is to support leaders to lead with love and love to lead.